Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to part two of our walnut desk build. So if you missed the first part, you're going to want to click on that link somewhere up there to take you back to part one, and that'll get you up to date on what I have going on here. But otherwise, let's jump into part two. Alright, so let me get you caught up to speed here on how I finished the day yesterday. Put in these pine strips. These are just strips to catch the drawer slides, to put my drawers in. They're just basically nailers for the screws. I put in this back panel, and I guess I should have filmed it before I put it in. I don't know if I'll be able to get a shot of it. You might be able to see there, I just put in metal clips. That's just a flat panel, and you never want to screw or glue a flat panel straight into something because it is going to expand and contract, so you got to leave some room for movement. And that's what that looks like from the outside. So that can actually float in there a little bit and move. So this case is pretty well done. I just have to finish sand it, and that'll be ready to go, ready to accept the drawer slides and then the drawers. And I didn't show you on the first part this little detail here, so I figured on this leg part I'd show you. I just made up little thin 1/4 inch thick rounded strips and mitered them all in. These were actually pretty simple because these are just straight pieces. This was a little intricate working around these corners. So this is the base, and this is going to get flipped over and be the top of the leg for the other side of the desk. And I actually have the leg glued up here. I glued this up yesterday before I left, and yeah, that's as complicated as it looks. I decided to save a glue up and do it all in one shot, so I glued the two sides together and the face frames all in one unit. So that was fun. Looks as hard as it was to get everything wrestled into place. So I'm going to pop the clamps on that, and we'll start assembling this thing. All right, so you saw me put that leg together. That went together pretty nice. It's actually hollow, but I needed, the mass here to make it match and look right. So that's why I just made it hollow and kind of made these sub-assemblies and put it all together. And I screwed it fast and glued it. And sorry for you woodworking purists, you traditionalists. I know there's a lot of guys out there that pride themselves in doing some fancy joinery and stuff like that. I'm more of a new school mechanical joinery woodworker. I hate to admit it, but I sure like my pin nailer and my finish nailer and the Craig system and modern wood glue. So I use it all, and I just think, you know, it does as good a job as the traditional stuff. Why beat your head against the wall? I really do appreciate traditional dovetail and mortise and tenon and things like that, but for my use, I hide the fasteners, and I'm a mechanical kind of guy. So anyway, I mocked this up here so you can kind of start to get an idea of what I got here. I made this frame, which needs some good sanding. Everything here needs some good sanding. So this will attach down onto a cabinet and our legs, and then the top will sit on this, and we'll be able to fasten the top up through here. So that serves that purpose of joining everything together, and it also is going to leave a little bit of a detail here that matches the bookcase I'm trying to match. That had like a little flat part, you know, below the cap, so I'm matching that. So I'm killing two birds with one stone, and this is just a frame I just mitered and Craig jigged together, glued it. So I'm going to do the smart thing and sand all of this stuff now, because I got to do the sanding, and it's going to be easier to do it before it's all assembled. If you're a woodworker, 9 out of 10 woodworkers will tell you the thing they hate the most is sanding. And that guy that tells you he doesn't hate sanding, well, I wouldn't listen to that guy. There's something wrong with his head. It's terrible. Everybody hates sanding, especially this. I got all these intricate details to sand. That's all going to be hand sanding. This stuff I can use the random orbit sander on, but I'm going to log a few hours here sanding. So nobody wants to watch that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it knocked out. And then from there, I still have to do something in the back here. I have an idea in my head. We'll see how that shapes up. But I'm going to get this stuff sanded, knocked out, so then I don't have to worry about it. So I'll bring it back in, well, it'll feel like a second. It's going to be a few hours. So the mess in this shop is increasing, so that's got to mean I'm making progress, right? I don't know. Sanding's done on this stuff. I went ahead and screwed this apron fast. Everything's looking really nice. Really happy with it. The only thing is, I need to do something here. Let me go around to the back. I got to fill in this space here. I don't want this leg just floating out in space. I want to tie this together to tie the back in. I thought about doing a solid panel, but I think that's too much wood. I'd like to set it off a little differently and leave it more open. So I have an idea in my head. I picked up these wrought iron balusters, and they're like, you know, you'd use them for stair balusters, and I'm thinking about somehow incorporating them in vertically. I got the little bezels to go with them to dress them up top and bottom. So I'm thinking a rail across bottom, rail across the top with the balusters in between. I don't know. What do you guys think? Can you picture it? Need some help picturing it. What if I do this? So that's kind of what I was looking at. I'll give you a better visual. I think that looks pretty sharp. Yeah, I just mocked that all up for that dumb little camera trick, but I wanted to see how it would look, honestly. This is all going to have to be taken back off to finish it, but I'm super happy with that. I think that's really sharp. That's going to set that off. Gives it a little bit more style than just being all wood, and it'll match the handles I have picked out for the drawers. So that's a cool look. So it's about lunchtime now, so I'm gonna go grab a bite, and I think I'm probably just gonna try to get this at least not, obviously not finished, but built today because it's kind of a rainy, dreary day out, so might as well work in the shop. So I gotta do the top and the drawers yet, so stick around. Well, I didn't get near as far as I hoped to this afternoon. This running a business, it gets in the way of having so much fun here. I had to tend to some business things, but I did get 2 of the drawers in, and I made a mistake, which then compounded into multiple mistakes. You knew it was going to happen eventually on this project. I made my drawers a touch too wide, and then I had to take them on the table saw and shave a little bit here to clear for the drawer slides. So that wasn't a major problem, but I totally goofed up the measurements on my top one because I forgot it kicks in here about a 1/4 inch on each side. So I had that all together, and I had to take it apart, and well, I don't have time to recut it today. So these are the soft closed drawer slides. Those are pretty neat. I like those. Pine drawer boxes. Yeah, I know. Somebody's already starting to type nasty comments that I'm an idiot for using pine drawer boxes. Let me explain myself a little bit here. So I went into my lumber building looking for maple or even poplar. It's typically what I use for drawer boxes. Doesn't have to be fancy, but you want something a little bit hard. And I stumbled on this 12-inch wide pine that was sawed thin. That was perfect for 1/2-inch drawer boxes. And I figured it was the best use for it. I couldn't pass it up. So that's what I used. If it was a kitchen cabinet or a bathroom vanity or even, you know, something in the bedroom, something that gets heavier use, I wouldn't use pine. But the most that's going to go in here is files, miscellaneous office junk. So I'm all right using pine. I thought it was the best use of the wood. That's what I went with. Yeah, it sticks a little bit. I have to fine tune that some. So it's obviously getting the walnut fronts on there. I'll have to recut that shelf and fix that up. But we're getting there. Drawer fronts, top, finish it. That's going to be when I come back to this. Unfortunately, tomorrow I got to do some work that actually pays some bills. I'll be working at the sawmill. So probably sometime next week I'll jump back on this. So I'll catch you back then and we'll get this wrapped up. Well, we're time warping forward again, guys. In fact, it's a whole new year. Happy New Year. It's January 2nd. I realize you're going to see this quite a bit afterwards, probably middle of January till I actually get this to you. But let me show you where I'm at here. I finished my drawer boxes. I fixed that goof up. They're on the floor here, ready to go. Made my drawer fronts, which don't look like much, just sitting here, but I have everything taken apart again, ready for finish. That's where I'm at. And the top. Got the top cut to size, put a little detail on the bottom and the top. She's ready to go, looking real nice. Everything was wiped down, sanded, blown off, wiped down with mineral spirits. It's ready for finish. So let's talk a little bit about finish, what I'm using here. It's a product I've never used before. A little bit nervous, we'll see how it goes. Should work pretty well. It's an oil-based finish. So the original bookcase that I'm trying to copy was, I believe, tung oil is what I used on that. I am a big fan of oil finishes, especially on wood like walnut. It brings out the grain nicely. It doesn't give you that film, you know, plasticky look like polyurethane does. The downside to oil finishes, they're not as resilient as a film finish like a polyurethane. So it's kind of a catch-22. They look the best, they don't always hold up the best. So like I've been saying, I've been kind of out of the furniture world for a while. I don't do much finishing of anything. And I've been noticing a product come on the market here, and I've heard a couple customers talk about these products. They're like a 2-part oil wax. Rubio Monocoat is the big one that I keep hearing over and over again. I see in, you know, trade publications, stuff like that. And it always has caught my eye, but I've never really had a need to use it. So I kind of sought that out when I started this project to see how I wanted to finish it. And there's a few different products. Odie's oil is another popular one I've had customers rave about. So I went down the rabbit hole of watching YouTube reviews on all these different products, and I didn't end up with either one of them. I actually ended up with Natura One Coat. So this is a 2-part oil finish. You mix the hardener into the part 1, part A, and you mix it up, put it on like oil. So super simple. Wipe it on, wipe it off. That's what I love about oil finishes. They're dead simple. I have a sprayer set up for spraying film finishes. It's a real pain because I don't have a dedicated finish room. So dust is always a major issue. You have to sand between coats. You got to try to keep everything as clean as possible. It's a nightmare, at least for me and my setup. So the oil is so much simpler. I like the look of it. And these are supposed to have much better protection of the wood. So only time will tell on that. But I watched a lot of videos on YouTube because, you know, YouTube videos are the gospel. You should always believe everything you see on YouTube, especially on this channel. But I watched a lot of reviews, and this actually came in when they did scratch and dent and chemical tests. This actually came in above the others as far as durability. And believe it or not, it was a little bit cheaper. So that kind of swayed me to this Natura One Coat. I know nothing else about it other than I liked the way it looked and I liked the results of the tests that I saw, so that's what we're going to go with. So it should be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to mix this up. You have to be particular with how you mix it. They have specific instructions on the ratio and how to mix it. But then it's, like I said, just kind of wipe it on, wipe it off. Apparently a little bit goes a long way. Not to bore you with the details, but the science I understand, a regular oil will penetrate all the way through the thickness of the wood. This stuff just lays on the top couple millimeters of the wood and creates a kind of a film in the wood without putting a film on the wood. The other really nice thing about that is if you do have damage or something, it's super simple to just go over it with more oil. Anybody that's familiar with polyurethane knows when that starts to scratch or chip or peel or you get damage to it, really you have to sand the whole thing off and start over. So this may not have the absolute most protection up front, but repairs are super simple and application should be simple. And I'm hoping the look I get is a much more natural look. So being that I've never worked with it before, I'm not just going to go hog wild and start slapping it all over this thing. I worked too hard on that. I actually have 3 shelves made here. I also have some shelves that are going along with this project, not tied into the desk, but next on the wall next to the desk. So these are all prepped up also. I'm going to start on these and kind of get my feet wet on something simple before I go after that. So I'm going to get mixed up and fine-tune everything, get it set up just the way I want here before I start finishing. I got a couple different weapons here. I have a scraper. I've seen people kind of manipulate it around, like especially on the top. I'll probably use a scraper. I got foam brushes for these nooks and crannies, and also a lot of people use these white applicator pads, kind of the same idea as the foam brush. So I'm going to attack it with a combination of everything and see what I think works best. All right. May not be my best camera setup, but you guys just want to see the wood. You don't need to see my goofy face. So I have this mixed up. Apparently just a little bit like that. It's supposed to go a really long way. So mix thoroughly. I followed the directions. I'm going to start with a foam brush because it's what I'm most comfortable and familiar with. And I'm just going to try to put it on real light and just see what happens. This is the payoff. You gotta love when you see some finish go on walnut. So wipe on, wipe off. I am super happy with the way that looks. That is beautiful. Comparing it to a piece of raw wood, you can see the difference. That's what it looks like before I started. and really brings out the grain nice. It's got a low luster. Pretty much, since it's an oil finish, what you see is what you get. So you can kind of see the reflection there from the window. Just a low luster, like a satin finish in the light, which is nice. Like I said, I don't like a mirror finish gloss. I like more of a natural finish. So for me, that's going to be perfect. So I got to get this done. I got to go over everything here before I leave today. Let it dry overnight. We'll see what it's like in the morning. I don't know that I'll do a second coat unless I miss a spot, really need to. The product is called One Coat. That is their big claim to fame, is one and done. So we'll see what it turns out like in the morning. If I'm happy with it, I'm probably going to do the final assembly on everything and show you guys what it looks like all buttoned up. Morning! I got it all wrapped up. I guess if you stuck around this long, this is what you've been waiting for. You guys ready to see it? There it is. Oh, you can't see it? How about now? There she is, guys. I'm pretty happy with it. Let me bring you in for a closer look. Drawers came out super nice. Chose black handles, obviously, to match the wrought iron. Top is beautiful. This finish, I'll tell you what, I am sold on this finish. It was Natura 1. Let me show you the can one more time. This stuff, Natura 1 coat, goes on super easy, leaves a super natural look, no odor, wipe on, wipe off. A little bit goes way further than you'd think it would. It's getting dusty already. And you can see it really brings out the wood. Just gives it like a low luster satin finish. Dries nice, super smooth. And on the back side here, it's a little tight in here, but you can see the little wrought iron detail on the back. You see a little bit of the sheen there, the light through the window. So I'm super thrilled. I think we did a good job. If you remember back to the bookcase I was matching, % solid walnut. It's colonial style. It's got this really nice ornate top. These fluted plasters, I guess you'd call them. I'm not an architect. I think I nailed it. Not to brag or anything like that, but I'm pretty proud, being that I haven't really done any formal woodworking, like I was saying, in quite a while. This was an undertaking. This wasn't an easy thing to jump back into, you know, with all the details and whatnot. So that's it. We made it through. When I started filming this, I really didn't know how it was going to turn out. I was hoping it wouldn't turn into some kind of disaster video, but I'm super happy with it. I got to get it out of this shop. I got a bunch of shelves to glue up for a customer, so I need the space in here, and I don't want it to get all messed up sitting here. So it's going home with me today, and I guess I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.